So in the previous session, we have discussed about creating the Apex classes, and we have discussed how to create an Apex class, how to define the required members inside the class, and once the members has been defined, how to access those members with the help of object of the class, and how can we create the object, what is the syntax we used to follow, and how to access each and every member with the help of object, how to assign, how to retrieve the values from the objects we have discussed. Now, so in today's session, we are going to discuss about ORM, and we have to understand what exactly ORM, what it will do, what is the use of ORM feature in Salesforce, and how to use this ORM to interact with your Salesforce objects through programmatically. And by using this ORM, how to insert a single record, how to insert bulk records, how to insert related records, we'll see with the practical, and then how this ORM works internally. What kind of operations ORM will do internally by default, we'll see, and how it will transform each Salesforce object in the form of class, each field in the form of variable, what kind of additional methods it provides by default, we'll see one by one. Now, so we have to understand what exactly the ORM feature first. So basically, ORM stands for object relationship and mapping. ORM stands for object relationship and the mapping. Then what is this ORM feature? What is the use? Okay, now let's see. So basically, ORM allows us to interact with your Salesforce objects through programming. As of now, we have created so many records inside our Salesforce objects. It may be standard, it may be custom. In each object, we have created few records. So now we have created the records by using page layouts. With the help of page layouts, we are able to insert some records, we are able to modify, we are able to delete, we are able to do all the operations. But the problem is, by using page layout, we can create only one record at a time. We can modify only one record at a time. We can delete only one record at a time, not multiple. Now, there are some situations where I want to create account record and the related contact, related opportunity, related case, related task, related event. All these 6 records I want to insert in one shot, but page layout won't support. Each record we have to insert separately here. This is a problem. And in this case, to avoid this kind of problems, we can use the help of ORM. Then, so what is the benefit of ORM and how it works? Now, let me explain. And how this ORM feature will provide faster performance than other programming languages. Okay, now let me explain. For example, come to a small scenario. For example, I have a database object. It may be Oracle, SQL Server, whatever, anything, whatever it might be. In this case, if I'm having a database table, how the people are inserting the records inside the object in Java programming, in .NET programming, in Apex programming, with the help of ORM, and then how this ORM is different from other programming languages. Now let me explain. So now, for example, I have a database object. Assume that this object is a customer object. That means customer table. This is the customer table. In this customer table, I want to insert the record through Java programming. With the help of Java programming, I want to insert a record. Then how can we insert? Now let's see. In order to insert the record, whatever the piece of code is required, we are writing the piece of code by using an editor. As part of Java programming, we are using an editor. It may be Notepad also, Edit Plus also, it may be Eclipse IDE also. Whatever the IDEs are available which are supporting by Java programming, we can use any one of these IDE. We can use an editor. Through the editor, we can able to write some piece of code. For example, this is the editor which I am using in order to write some Java programming code. I'm using some Java programming code in order to write some piece of code in order to interact with that customer object to insert some new records inside this object. But in this case, when we try to insert a new record through this Java programming into the database table, Java programming is not having the capability to connect to the database directly. Java programming can't interact with the databases through programming directly. There is no direct interaction. Now, it may be any database, it may be Oracle, SQL Server, MS Access, any database also, whatever it may be, Java programming is not having the capability to connect to the database tables directly. For that one, it requires a mediator component. It requires a mediator component. It needs a mediator component over here. These mediator components are called as drivers. These are called as drivers. So now internally Java programming is using a driver. Now it will use a driver. So now driver is nothing but a mediator component which will be establishing a connection between your programming language with the database. Whenever if you are going to be inserting a new record, so now Java programming has to be interact with the driver will collect the request, it will be processing the request by connecting with the database, it will collect the response back, the same response will be forwarding back to the Java programming over here. Okay, now, so that here it needs to interact with the driver first. Whenever it is going to be interacting with the driver, to connect to the driver, we are going to be using a separate library. As part of Java programming, they have a separate library is available that is called as JDBC. We have a separate library called as JDBC. JDBC is a separate library which is used to connect to the database. Java database connectivity. So we have a JDBC library which provides a collection of classes through which we can interact with your driver. In order to connect to the driver, whatever the functionalities are required, all the functionalities are available inside this JDBC library. Now, Java programming is going to be connecting to that driver. But upon connecting to the driver, we have various types of drivers are available. As part of this Java programming, it is supporting three types of drivers over here. It supports JDBC driver, ODBC driver, J driver. These are the three drivers are available which will be supporting by Java programming. Java programming will be supporting these three drivers here. Java database connectivity, object database connectivity, and the joint engine technology. These are the three drivers are available. JDBC driver is from Sun Microsystems. That means who are the founders of Java programming. And this ODBC and the Jet drivers are from Microsoft. These two drivers have been built by the Microsoft people especially. Now, so now in this case, so through Java programming, we have to connect to the driver with the help of JDBC library. Because as part of Java programming, each functionalities are available in the form of packages. So now we have to use that corresponding JDBC package. Through that package, we can use the help of those ready-made built-in classes. Through those classes, we need to connect to the driver here. Now, as part of these drivers, again we are having multiple types, like as a type 1 driver, type 2 driver, type 3 driver, various types are also available. Each type driver will be having its own processing internally here. Now, depends upon the requirement, we need to connect to the respective type of the driver, and then through the driver, we can able to insert a new record inside your object. We need to insert the record. Once the record has been inserted successfully, now the driver will be collecting the response back from the database table. Now the same response will be forwarding back to the Java program. This is the flow. So now in this case, whenever we are going to be using some Java programming language in order to interact with the database table to insert a new record, this is the procedure we used to follow. We should be aware of Java programming language. We should be aware of JDBC library. We have to use some database programming over here to connect to the database. Now through with the help of driver, we can able to interact with the database table. Okay, so Java programming is not having the capability to connect to the database table directly. It requires a mediator component over here that is called as a driver. Now tell me in this case, whenever we are interacting with the database table through a mediator or through a third party component, will it be impacting on the performance, right? Yes, it will be impacting on the application performance here. This is the first problem. Second problem is what here is, now we need to write a separate library code. That means we need to connect to the driver first. In order to connect to the driver, we have to use a separate set of classes. We should be aware of those classes also. We need to use those classes to write some piece of code to connect to the driver to perform the operation. That means it will be increasing the coding also over here. So the coding will be getting increased. The number of lines of code will be getting increased automatically here. It will increase the compilation time. It will increase that execution time. It is impacting on your application performance also. So we don't have any direct communication from Java programming to database directly. Always it has to connect to the database through with the help of a driver, which is a third party or mediator component. Okay. Now let's come to one more scenario. For example, I'm using Microsoft.NET. Now, for example, Microsoft.NET. Now, assume that I'm using Microsoft.NET programming over here. I'm using the Microsoft.NET supported programming languages. It may be like a C Sharp, it may be VB, it may be anything, V C++ or F Sharp.NET or M.NET or anything, whatever it might be over here. For example, I'm using C Sharp.NET programming. I'm using this C Sharp.NET programming. So by using this C Sharp.NET programming, I want to insert a new record inside this database table. Here also I have a customer table. It may be in SQL Server, it may be Oracle, it may be MS Access, whatever. Now through .NET programming, I want to insert a record into the database table. Here also, .NET framework is not having the capability to connect to the database table directly. Here also we require driver. We need a third party mediator component which establish the communication between both the parties over here. So here also we need to connect to the driver. In order to connect to the driver, as part of this C Sharp.NET, in Microsoft.NET framework, they have introduced a library called as ADO.NET. ADO.NET is a separate library which provides a collection of classes, which provides a group of namespaces. which provides some built-in ready-made classes which we can use to connect to the driver. Now it will be supporting two types of drivers over here. First one ODBC driver, second one Jet driver. Because both the drivers are from Microsoft, C#.NET also from Microsoft. So both are compatible. So that here, when coming to that C#.NET, it is using the help of ADO.NET library, and then through this ADO library, we can connect to that driver. Through the driver, we can interact with the database table, and then we can perform the operation. We can get the response back to the driver. It will send the response back to that C#.NET program. We can show on the screen. So in this case, these are the two most popular programming languages which are playing very major role in IT industry nowadays. Java, .NET. But both are not having the capability to connect to the database tables directly. They are going to be interacting with the database object through a mediator component, that is drivers. Now, in this case, upon interacting with the database table, so through mediator, it is impacting on the application performance. For that reason, as part of this Apex programming, in Salesforce, here also, we are going to be using this Apex programming language. Now, here also we are using Apex programming language in order to insert a new record inside this object. I would like to use Apex programming language. I'm using Apex programming language in order to interact with the database. So in order to connect to the database, here we are using the help of ORM feature. Through this ORM, we are going to be interacting with the database objects directly here. No third party, no mediator components here. We don't have any third party components, no mediator components as part of your Salesforce implementations. Whenever if you want to interact with your database objects, then you will be having the direct interaction. You are having a direct interaction with your database objects. This is the specialty of ORM. Through this ORM, we can able to interact with your Salesforce objects, through programming itself without having any third party, without using any mediator components. So now with the help of this ORM, we can connect to the database object, we can perform the required operations so that we are not involving any third party components, so we can improve the application performance as well. Okay, clear? Now, so this is a functionality of ORM. So what ORM will do, basically ORM is used to interact with your database objects. It may be standard object, it may be custom object directly without using any third party or mediator components. So that we can able to reduce the number of lines of code, and then we can reduce the complexity in the application, and then we can able to reduce that coding, we can reduce the compilation time, we can reduce that execution time, and we can increase the application performance also. So for that reason, we are using the help of ORM. That's what here nowadays in our Java and the .NET also, they are started using ORM here. Like for example, if anybody is aware of Java programming, if anybody is aware of Java, now whenever the people are learning Java, initially they are using core Java programming. Then they are learning advanced Java. And then they are learning Java Enterprise Editions, J2EE. And later, the people are learning some frameworks. The people are learning some frameworks. Like they are learning Struts framework. They are learning Hibernate framework. They are learning Spring framework. The people are learning various of frameworks over here. So whatever the frameworks they have introduced right now, these frameworks are purely built upon ORM. These are purely built upon ORM. From the year 2000 itself, Salesforce people have started using ORM functionalities. Now, when you go to .NET programming, these people are also has introduced the features like link, language integrated query, and along with that they are using Hibernate. Hibernate. These are the features that people are using as part of .NET programming also in order to interact with the database objects through programming without using any third-party mediator layers. Okay, but in this case, as part of Salesforce, we no need to learn any additional frameworks. Directly, we can use the help of Apex programming. Just by learning this Apex programming itself, we can do all the operations. So with the help of Apex programming, we can use the help of this ORM feature, and then through this ORM, we are going to be interacting with the database objects through programming itself. Okay, understood the concept now? Now. So now here you can raise a question, sir, how it is possible to connect to the database table through programming? How can we insert the record? Upon inserting the record, there are some fields are there which are mandatory, which are okay required fields. We need to pass a value for those mandatory fields. Now there are some optional fields may be there. For those fields, passing the value is my choice. I can pass, I cannot pass. It's my choice. But compulsorily, we have to pass a value for mandatory fields in order to insert the record or to perform the operations. Then in this case, how to pass the values for these fields? Now, for that reason here, as part of this ORM is going to performing two operations internally by default. ORM will be perform two operations internally over here. What are those two operations? Now, let me explain one by one here. Okay? Now, for example, how this ORM works, let me explain. For example, I have my Salesforce subject. For example, I have my Salesforce subject. Assume that this is the account object. I'm having account object. Now tell me in account object what fields are available. Could you please list out those fields? First name, no. Account object. ID field, name field, rating, industry, annual revenue, type, ownership, phone, fax, website, account site, account number, and then billing street, billing city, billing state, billing country, billing postal code, shipping street, shipping country, shipping state, shipping city, shipping postal code, customer priority, SLA, SLA expiration date, active status, owner ID, created by, last modified by, like that various of fields are available here. These other fields are available in my account object over here. Not only this, we have some more fields also internally here. Okay, now, so now let me talk about these fields over here. These are the various of fields, including standard, custom. These custom fields also has been given by Salesforce. Customer priority, SLA, SLA expiration date, active underscore underscore C, SLA serial number here. Okay, all these things are nothing but these are the custom fields given by Salesforce. Object that we have, that is account, which is the standard object with these fields. Now then what this ORM will do is, basically ORM will perform two operations internally. ORM performs two operations. First operation is, whatever the Salesforce object that we have, this entire Salesforce object, it is going to be transforming in the form of a class. Okay, it will convert this whole table in the form of a class over here. That means what it will do, whatever the name that we have for this Salesforce object, with this particular name, it is creating a class automatically. Now, that is the step one. As a step one, ORM is going to be transforming each and every Salesforce table in the form of a class. That class will be creating by whom? ORM itself. Automatically, ORM will be generating here. Okay, now, so now this is the first step. Now, as a step one, as a step one, ORM will transform each Salesforce subject table in the form of a class where the table name and class name both are identical. That means whatever the name that you have for your object, okay, whatever the name that you have for your table, with the same name, it will be creating a class. Now tell me what is the name of this account table here? Account. Now it will create a class with the name account. Okay. Now what is the syntax of this class now? Public class account. Okay.
Class account
Class account. Who will create this
account.
class? ORM. That means Salesforce is creating the class automatically. That's what I told you upon creating the classes. Don't create any class by using Salesforce object names.
Standard.
Okay, don't create the Apex classes, okay, with the Salesforce object names, because with these names already classes are created by ORM here. That's what here, don't create any classes. Okay, now suppose if you have already created any classes with the Salesforce object names, just you can delete them. Go to the standard navigation. From there we can delete that class also here. Now, so now this is the syntax here. Let me show you that syntax.
Public.
Now, public
Yes,
class
account.
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 It will provide the business logic. This is the step one. This is the step one. This is the first step which will be performing by the ORM architecture to you. So now as part of ORM architecture, this is the step one. Whatever the table that we have inside your Salesforce arc, okay, whatever the table name that we have, with the same name, it will create a class. Now, in this case here, for example, I have a lead table with this name already a class. That means public class lead. That class is already created by Salesforce. We have case object. That means case class here. We have opportunity object, opportunity class. Now, what whatever the standard objects that we have with those names already classes have been prepared. Now here you can raise a question, sir, what about my custom objects? I have created few custom objects also, like hiring manager, position, branch, customer.
Position.
So many objects we have created also. What about those custom objects over here? Whenever we are creating a new custom object in Salesforce, automatically with that object name, Salesforce will provide one class automatically by default. Not only standard, custom also. Suppose if you are creating an object with the name position, what will be the class name it will provide now? Hmm. Now it will prepare the class with the name like as a public class position underscore underscore C. Now tell me, can we use the character underscore in the class name? Yes, we can use that. So now upon preparing the class name can include alphanumerical characters along with special character that is only underscore. Other special characters will not be allowed over here. So in this case, whenever we are creating an Salesforce object with the name position, Salesforce will create a new class automatically with the name position underscore underscore C. Okay, understood the concept now? Now, this is a business logic class preparing by Salesforce. So, whatever the standard objects and custom objects that we have inside your org, with those names already classes has been prepared by Salesforce over here. This is the step one. Next, step two. As the step two. So now tell me in this case here, whatever the table that we have account, okay, with this name it is preparing a class. Table contains what? Table contains what? Fields. Okay, table contains fields. Now, in this case here, each and every object contains some set of fields like as ID, name, rating, like that. Here we are having so many fields are available. Then what about these fields over here? Whatever the fields that we have inside your Salesforce object, whatever the fields are available, it may be standard field, it may be custom field, all the fields are going to be representing as members inside this class over here. Members means what? Variables. Okay, variables. So whatever the fields that we have inside your object, with the same field name, it is creating variables also automatically inside that class. Okay, this is the step two. Okay, this is the step two here. Now, ORM will transform each field inside the object in the form of a variable in the associated class. In the associated class. Now, in this case, we are having this class like this. For example, we have account class, public class account. Now tell me the variables. Hmm. First variable here, first field.
Integer
What is the
ID,
first field in that one? ID field.
ID,
Now tell me how it will be representing. Account.id? No. Now, just to define the variable here with this name. ID field will store what?
integer values.
Unique value that will be generated by whom? Salesforce. So now in this case here, in order to store the record IDs, we are using the data type. What is the data type? ID data type. Because that already told you,
Oh,
each and every ID field, lookup relationship field, master detail field, look hierarchical field, and the lookup external lookup field, these are all are referencing ID data type. That already told you during data types concept. Okay. Now ID. That means what? Public data type here. This is the data type that is ID, and the variable name also have given as ID because it is a field. Next, second field is what? Name field. Name field will be of type what? String. Right.
String.
Public string name. Rating. Right. Industry. Right. Industry also a string data type here. Annual revenue, decimal. Annual revenue means currency field. Currency fields are referencing which data type? Decimal. During our primitive data types, I told you 12 data types over there. In each and every data type, I have given a note point over there. Which data type is, which fields are referencing, which data type I have given the note point also over there. Now, next, type field. Type will be having so many options like as prospect, customer direct, installation partner, and then channel partner, technology partner, like that. These are the options are available. This is a pick list field. All the pick list fields are referencing string data type automatically here. Now type. Next. Ownership.
Ship.
Ownership contains four options like as public, private, and then we are having the option of okay subsidiary others. These are the four options over here. Next, phone type here.
String.
Phone will be
Fax.
referencing string data type.
String.
String.
Fax
Fax.
also string data type.
String.
Website.
Right.
Website also string data type.
Account
Gun
site.
site.
And then account site string data type.
Account number.
No, account
Account
number
number.
also string type
Billing street.
that has been given by Salesforce. Okay, it will accept string values. Next,
Billing street.
Billing street.
billing street
City.
also string type.
And billing city.
Billing city string type. And then billing
Billing
state
Billing state.
state.
string type.
State.
Billing country.
Billing
Billing
country string type.
Billing postal code.
Billing postal code.
Shipping
street.
street.
Shipping street.
Shipping country.
Shipping country.
City.
State.
Shipping
Shipping state.
country.
Shipping state.
Shipping
State.
state. Shipping postal code. Next, customer
City.
priority.
Shipping city.
Customer priority.
Shipping. Customer
This is also
priority.
type string because it is having the options high, medium,
High,
low.
medium, low.
Now, next one SLA.
A.
This is also string type. It is having the option gold, platinum, bronze, silver. These are nothing but string data type words. And then
Owner ID.
L.
active underscore underscore C. It is having two options. Yes, no. If it is a checkbox, then
Sir,
only
is that
Boolean
not
type.
a
It is a
Boolean?
okay. It's not a Boolean type here. It will be always a string. Because only the checkbox data types are referencing Boolean data type. Pick list fields are referencing string data type over here. Okay. Please remember the point here. Next. Next one. Owner ID.
ID.
That will be of type ID. Right. So here it will be having the owner ID. Next.
Created by.
Now we are having that. These are the string data type fields over here. These are the string data type fields. Next, we forgot to write that annual revenue. Hmm. Decimal annual revenue. SLA expiration date. Date type. Right. SLA expiration date. Created by and the last modified by. Date time. Right.
Date time.
Date time created by last modified by. Okay. Clear? Understood the concept till now here? So now in this case, so these are the two steps the ORM will perform. As a step one, ORM is going to be transforming each Salesforce table in the form of a class where your table name and your class name both are exactly same. Okay, now, so once that class is ready, inside the object, whatever the fields are available, each field will be representing in the form of a variable over here. Depends upon the data type which was selected, it will be representing the corresponding data type variable inside the class over here. Okay, understood the concept now? Now, this is the second step. Now, in this case, it will be representing each field in the form of a variable, and along with that, by default, in this class, ORM will provide 10 methods. It provides 10 methods by default. Like it is providing save method, quick save method, cancel, delete, first, next, previous, last, has previous, has next. These are the 10 methods will be giving by Salesforce by default. As part of this ORM is going to be providing 10 methods built in. What are all the 10 methods it will provide? Now let me explain. 10 standard methods. It provides 10 standard methods over here. What are those 10 standard methods it will provide? Okay, now let me explain. Now let's see. The first method is save method. Second one, quick save method. Third one, cancel. Fourth one, delete. Fifth one, first. Sixth one, next. Seventh one, last. Eighth one, previous. Ninth one, has previous. 10th one, has next. These are the 10 standard methods will be giving by Salesforce by default. These are the 10 standard methods. So this is the internal architecture of ORM. Okay, this is the internal architecture of ORM. So basically, ORM will perform two operations internally. As a step one, ORM is going to be transforming each Salesforce object in the form of a class. And once the class has been prepared, inside the object, whatever the fields are available, each field will be representing in the form of a variable with the respect to data type. And then it is providing 10 standard methods like a save, quick save, cancel, delete, first, next, previous, last, has previous, has next. These are the 10 methods will be giving by Salesforce by default over here. Okay, this is a business logic class will be preparing by Salesforce. Now in this case here, okay, now here in this case, let me explain. I'm going back to my configuration part over here. Now in this case that already told you as part of configuration. As part of configuration here. That already told you whenever we are creating a new custom object in Salesforce, how many layers will be giving by Salesforce? 3 layers here. These are the 3 features will be giving by Salesforce. What it will do as a step 1, it will create a new table by adding some 5 standard fields. This is the table will be creating by Salesforce by default. As a step 1, Salesforce is going to be creating a new table with a standard 5 fields like ID, name, owner, created by, last modified by. Once the table is ready to manage the records inside the table, it is providing a tab also with a plural format here. This is the tab which contains the user interfaces. After entering the data in these text boxes, when the user click on save button, in order to insert the record inside the database table, we need a mediator layer here. That means we require the business logic. For that one, it is providing a class with the name customer underscore underscore C. That means your table name and your class name both is exactly similar over here. So inside this class, it is having the save method directly, cancel method directly. We can perform all the operation. Now, this business logic class will be preparing by ORM. This is a business logic class. This is a business logic class will be preparing by ORM. Okay, clear? Understood the concept till now? Now, so now here this is a business logic class will be giving by Salesforce. Now in this case, here you can raise a question, sir, what is the use of these methods over here? Where we are using these 10 methods. Now, let me explain. I'm going to my Salesforce org now. I'm going to my Salesforce org. Let me go to Salesforce Classic part. I'm going to Salesforce Classic part. I'm going to the object account. Now click on new button. Form will be getting opened. So now after entering the data inside this particular fields, as soon as once you click on save button, what it will do? It will create a record. How? By using business logic. Who has prepared this business logic? ORM. This is a business logic prepared by Salesforce here. Now, this is a business logic. Now, in this case here, as soon as once you click on this save button, immediately this save button is going to be invoking this save method here. Inside the account class, we have this save method. Now these 10 methods are common in every class by default. In account class also these are 10 methods. Contact class are 10 methods. Lead class 10 methods. Position underscore C class 10 methods. These 10 methods are common. Okay. If you want along with this 10, if you want some more additional, we need to build that here. Okay. Now, so after entering the data inside this user interface, once you click on save button, it will call this a save method which will be inserting a record. When you click on this cancel button, it will call this a cancel method, which is going to be canceling this current request over here. Next, once you click on this delete button, open the record here. Now, as soon as whenever once you click on this delete button, now immediately this delete button is going to be calling this delete method, which will be deleting the current record from your Salesforce object over here. Next one. When I go to my account object, I would like to represent all the records over here. In this case, here we can apply the pagination also. How to apply the pagination, that already we have discussed. Now here in this case, here we can able to see that. Now, so now here in this case, you can see whenever we are going to be click on, okay, next button here. Now, as soon as once you click on this first button, now this first button will call first method, which is used to get the first set of records. When I click on this next button, it will call that next method. When you click on this previous button, it will call that a previous method over here. When I click on this last button, it will call this last method over here. Now, right now, first button and the previous button has been disabled. Why? Right. We don't have any previous pages. Current records are nothing but the current state. That means first set of records. So to know whether do we have previous set of records available or not, it is using has previous. Do we have previous set of records available or not? Based on that, these two buttons will be in disabled state. Suppose, for example, once you go to that last page over here, do we have any last set of records over here? No. Currently, we are at the last stage over here. We don't have any more records. To know that here they are using the method has next. Okay. Do we have any next set of records available or not? To check it out, it is using this method. These are the 10 methods will be giving by Salesforce by default as part of ORM in each and every class. Okay. This is the internal architecture of ORM. Okay. Clear? No. Data will be storing into the database. Now this class we are going to be using to interact with your table to do programmatically to insert the records. Okay. Now, as of now, if you want to insert the record inside the object, okay, what we did, we went to the user interface. Click on this new button. Form has been opened. We can enter the data. We can click on save button. But now I don't want to use this user interface. I want to insert the record through programming. How? In that case, I don't want to use this page layout. Now I would like to use the help of this class which has been given by Salesforce. Now I'm using this class in order to interact with my account object, and we can able to insert some new account record inside my object over here. Clear? Understood the concept now? Now. So now tell me in this case here, I want to insert one account record inside my account object. In account object, how many fields are mandatory fields? Only one. What is that? Name field. Remaining all are optional. Now in this case, account table means what? This account class, right? Account table means this account class, right? Because the table is represented as class. Now name field is nothing but name variable over here. Okay, because here fields has been represented as variables. So now in this case, we need to pass the value upon inserting the account record. We need to pass the value for which variable? Name variable here. Okay, name variable. Name variable is available where? Inside the class. This name variable is available inside the class. How to assign the value for this variable here? This is a part of what class? How to access this member
Member
of the class now?
Class name dot
Object name.
name.
Then
instance.
in this case, what
Create
needs to
an
be done? We
object.
need to create object of the class. How to create the object of the second class? Now tell me. Hmm.
Account. Account.
Now we need to create the object of account class. Account from
Account.
SCC record equals to
New account.
new account. Okay. Now we are creating object of account class here. Now I want to assign name value. How to do that?
Account record
SCC
dot
record
name is
name.
equals to
What? See, that is account type. It's an object name. Okay. Now it's an object
String.
name. Now ACC record is an object name. Now how to access these members over here? By using object name dot member name. Now we are assigning the value. Name will be of type what over here? String type. I am passing the value in single quotes. Now some Ramesh Kumar. I want to pass a rating value. Rating. How to pass a value? I'm passing the value hard.
Hot.
ACC record dot industry. Banking. ACC record dot annual revenue. 2 lakhs. Do we need to enclose in single quote? No, because this is a decimal type. Numerical values we no need to enclose in single quote. Numerical values and then Boolean values don't enclose in single quotes. Now, ACC record dot phone. We need to enclose in single quote. ACC record dot fax. I'm going to be enclosing this. ACC record dot customer priority. I'm assigning the value high. ACC record dot active status. I'm assigning the value yes. Once it has been assigned, then I would like to insert the record. Insert ACC record. That's it. Over. This is how we are inserting the record inside the object here. No insert method. Directly we can use insert statement here. Now we have to create the object of the class, supply the value for each and every field, and then we can insert the record by using insert statement. Now tell me, do we need to prepare the second class by our own? No, this class is prepared by whom? ORM. We no need to prepare that. So class creation is already taken care by Salesforce. Then what we need to do? We need to create object of the second class, assign the values, insert the record. That's it. Over. Yes, we can able to create this code in execute anonymous window over here. Go to the execute anonymous window, create the object of the class, assign the values for the field, insert the record by using insert statement. Insert SEC record with this details record will be inserted. Now, here you can raise a question, sir, is it mandatory to pass a value for each and every field? No. Whatever the mandatory fields are available, supply the value for only mandatory fields here. No need to pass a value for optional fields. If your choice, if you want, you can pass. If you don't want, leave it. No problem here. Okay? Clear? Now, so now once a record has been inserted, then what is the guarantee that the record is inserted? What is the guarantee? If the record is inserted, what will be generating by Salesforce for that record? ID. Where will be that ID? In which variable the ID will be stored? In which variable? ID variable. Inside this ID variable, value will store. How to get the value of that ID variable? Hmm. Object name. What is the object name here? SEC recorded dot ID. If the ID value is not null, that means what? Right. That means if the record is if the ID is not null, that means ID is having some value. That means ID has been generated. That means record is inserted here. So we can show the message. So now if the ACC record dot ID not equals to null, that means I want to show the confirmation message record inserted successfully here. That's it. Simple. Okay. Now, in this case here, what I'm doing, I'm creating the object of the class. I'm assigning the values over here. And then I would like to print the confirmation. How to print the confirmation? Now I'm collecting the record ID value here. So that I would like to check if ACC record dot ID not equals to null. That means ID has been generated. Then I would like to show the message system dot debug account inserted successfully. That's it. Over. Just what we did here, just we have created the object of the class, assigned the values, retrieve the ID values over here. That's it. Only these three steps. First step, class creation is already done by Salesforce for you here. Those classes will not be visible to you. When you go to the developer console, you can't see these classes. These are purely invisible. Okay, what logic they have written, they will not be visible to you because these classes are purely abstraction. These are abstract classes. These classes you can't see, but we can use them to insert the record, but we can't see them here. That's what I told you during that abstraction. Abstraction provide the interfaces to the user, but without providing the complexity of implementation. So here also we are using the help of this account class to insert the account record, but this class code we can't see that here. Okay, we can't see the class code, but we can use that class code to insert the account record to perform the required operations. Okay, clear up to this one? Understood the concept now? Now. Clear? Now. So this is how we need to insert the records from now onwards inside your Salesforce object. As a step 1, create that object of the respective class. As a step 2, supply the values for each and every field. As a step 3, insert the record inside this object by using insert statement. As a step 4, we need to show that confirmation of the record over here. That's it. These are the 4
Sir,
steps we used to perform in order to insert the record in Salesforce object. It may be standard, it may be custom, any object here, same 4 steps we used to follow. These are all are nothing but your field names. Suppose if you don't know these are field names, how can we check these field names?
from the table,
By using that object
fields,
here. We can go to the object manager also. We can go to the object manager, click on fields and relationships link.
fields
That is
and
one way.
relationships.
Or else a schema builder also we can see that. Or else you can go to the developer console also. From there also we can see. You know how to see the objects, how to see the fields. All these things we have discussed in our starting classes of the configuration part here. Same procedure over here. Okay. Same, exactly. Whatever the object name that we have, with that name it is creating the class. Whatever the fields are available with the same field name, it will create the variable. That's it, nothing else. Okay? Clear? Now, exact same name here. If you're feeling difficulty to write, just you can go to that object manager, copy and paste here also you can do. But don't do that here. Better to okay remember that field names at least. Because in the entry point of view, okay, they will be giving a paper and pen to you. They will give you the requirement. They will ask you to write the code. At that time, we can't copy paste. Okay, so that we need to remember the field names. Okay, the basic field names you have to remember here. Okay, now clear? Now clear up to this one. Next, make a note of this one. ORM concept. Hmm. No, now that is only for your explanation. I am preparing the pictures over here. Hmm? Now, the people won't concentrate on the notes here. That's the problem. Okay. Now, now let's see. ORM feature. ORM stands for Object Relationship and the Mapping. Salesforce provides a collection of standard objects by default as part of Salesforce CRM to be used to store the sales, service, and marketing related data. The Salesforce developer or administrator can create their own custom objects based on the business requirement. All the Salesforce objects will get resides inside the database.com. Now, by using ORM feature, we can interact with the database.com directly without using any third-party medias, without using any third-party mediators, and we can insert the records inside the Salesforce objects. And we can insert the records inside the Salesforce objects through programming. Through programming. By using ORM feature, we can interact with the database.com directly without using any third-party mediators. And we can insert the records inside the Salesforce objects through programming. Now, by using ORM feature, we can insert either one record or multiple records or related records inside the Salesforce objects. Now, to interact with the Salesforce objects through programming, ORM will perform the below two operations. Now, as a step one, ORM will transform each Salesforce object in the form of a class where the object name and class name both should be identical. For example, account table will be represented as below. Public class account. Opportunity table will be represented as below. Public class opportunity. Done up to this part? Position underscore underscore C class. This is the step one. As a step two, ORM will transform each field inside the object in the form of a variable inside the associated class, where the field name and the variable name both are identical. Both are identical. For example, account object fields are represented as below. Public class account, we are having this ID field, public ID data type, ID variable, and the owner ID variable. Public string, name field, rating, industry, type, ownership, account site, account number, phone, fax, website, billing street, billing city, billing state, billing postal code, billing country, customer priority, SLA, active status, shipping street, etc. Public decimal, annual revenue. Public date, SLA expiration date. Public date time, created by, last modified by. It provides 10 standard methods. First one, save. Second one, quick save. Third one, cancel. Fourth one, delete. Fifth one, first. Sixth one, next. Seventh one, previous. Eighth one, last. Ninth one, has previous. Has next. Done with this? Now, then how can we insert the records inside the objects through programming? We'll see in tomorrow's session with practical. Okay, the practically how to insert the records, we'll see how to insert a single record, how to insert the records in standard object, custom object, we'll see how to insert the records in terms of bulk, how to insert related records also, we'll see in tomorrow's session. But before coming to the tomorrow session, please refer that relationship document over here. Relationship topic notes. Okay, because that is a base here. Okay, I think most of the people forget about that topic here. People are getting shocked now because admin topic is the base. Refer that admin. Okay, admin topics over here. Now relationship topics are the base here. So now we should be aware of what objects are there, what relationships are available, what is the parent, what is the child, what is the relationship field. Those are important. Okay. Now, thank you.